Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandat Pranam. So I request Sadhu Sevan Prabhu. I made you the host, Prabhu. So we can start the session now, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandat Pranams, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Meenakshi Mataji, I'm making you the co-host.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Sadhu Sevan Prabhu, I made you the host. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So all the devotees and Mataji's accept my respectful obeisances. Sorry for the delay that it has caused to start the session, but I'll try to cover up. We may not be able to repeat the shlokas today in the interest of time, but we'll try to cover other details.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. You're not audible.
I'm not audible, Mataji. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I will remove
Prabhu,
my...
volume is very low, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Is it better now?
Yes, yes.
Ah,
Now
yes,
it's okay.
Yes, it's better.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. So quickly, I'll share Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Dam Sajivam Sadhavetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Amitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dena Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namstate Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Adishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I am going to start sharing the screen for today's verse. Is my screen visible clearly? Can somebody please confirm? I'm audible and screen is visible correctly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So today's text 14. So Prati Andam Evam Ekamashad Visati Savayam Saharsra Muradha Vishwatma Mahavishnu Sanatanaha. So I'm not sure if we can repeat. Let us try any 2 or 3, maximum 3 devotees we will repeat. So I'm going in the sequence. Sindhu Mataji, yes. You can recite the shloka, Mataji.
Pranam to you. Text 14. Pratyandam evam ekamshad vishati swayam sahasra murda vishvatma mahavishnuhu sanatanaha.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Next. We will recite it 3 times, Mataji. So one is done. Lalita Mataji, I'll request Mataji.
Okay.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thanks.
Pratyandam evam ekamshad vishati swayam sahasramurdha vishvatma mahavishnu sanatana. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes. Sudha Mataji, last. Please recite the one shloka, Mataji.
Audible?
Mataji, you're not audible, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible now?
No, it's okay.
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Pratiyandam evam ekamshat dishati swayam sahasra murda vishwatma Mahavishnu Sanatanaha.
Thank you, Mataji. Now, I will read the word to word. It is very important. We will be able to connect. And then we will go to Prashanti Mataji for the translation. So before that, Prati means each, Andam, like egg-like universe, Evam, thus. This word has come twice, Ekamasad. So in the translation we see, in the synonym we see Ekamasad, as his own separate subjective portions. Next, Vishati, enters, Swayam, personally, Sahasra Murdha, possessing thousands of heads. Vishwa Atma, the super soul of the universe. Mahavishnu means Mahavishnu. Sanatanaha, eternal. So, Prati Andam, in the each egg-like universe, the Lord enters as Ekamshad, as his own separate subjective portion. And in each of the separate subjective portion, Vishati Savayam, he enters himself personally. Sahasra Murdha Vishwatma, he has thousands of heads. Okay, and he is the soul, super soul of the universe. Mahavishnu Sanatanaha. That Mahavishnu is eternal. Now we will read the translation. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Translation by Prabhupada ki Jai. The same Mahavishnu entered into each universe as his own separate subjective portions. The divine portions that entered into each universe are possessed of his majestic extension, that is, they are the eternal universal soul Mahavishnu, possessing thousands of heads. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you. So, before we always read any shloka, we try to read the context and what we are going to learn from there, so that our thinking process to receive that verse and the purport by Srila Prabhupada, and I mean in this case Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. So we receive their message in the right mood. So we definitely do the Mangalacharan for that. So today we are going to read, as we saw in the translation also, Mahavishnu is the super soul of the universe who has thousands of heads. He himself is entering. So in all these universes, right? So today's center of discussion is going to be Garbho, Dakshaya, Vishnu. So all these three are called the Purusha Avatara. So we must know in Brahma Samhita, it is like educational katha. So pastimes are not there much, okay, but it is to educate ourselves so that we understand how the Lord is supreme. What all, though Lord does not have to put much effort, right? For us, everything we want to do just by thinking, nothing happens. Okay, if we desire, we can keep on desiring. Okay, but for us, okay, we have to do some actions using our senses. For the Lord, we just have to think, and the manifestation happens. So by understanding how great our Lord is, our conviction to to accept the supremacy of the Lord increases. The very same line which Srila Prabhupada repeats almost in his every purport, and hundreds of times we would have heard this, spoken this, but yet to be realized, is Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, we know it in theory, but when we hear the great literatures like Brahma Samhita, we understand how our dear Krishna is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is like educational katha, not like pastimes katha. Okay, so that we get these technical details, and which helps us to accept the supremacy of the Lord. Now, in the previous verse, right, we had discussed in the continuation of that the spiritual seeds of Sankarsana existing in the course of skin of Mahavishnu, they are born as so many golden sperms. These sperms are covered with 5 great elements. This is like Panchabhuta, right? So His Holiness Tamal Krishna Swami Maharaj says these Panchabhutas are like these are like 5. If we take a car, and when the car has its tire, steering, body, right, all other roof, seats, when all these parts are separate, when the creation happens, those parts are assembled. So those Panchabhutas are assembled into one. Okay. So now, by all these verses that we are reading, and we will be reading further, we are discussing the Purusha Avatara. Purusha Avatara are 3. I'm sure by now we know exactly the relation between them. First is Karanadakshaya Vishnu, because he is lying in the causal ocean. He is also called Mahavishnu. And then second is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then third is the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So they all are beyond matter. Okay. Give me a second, please. Yeah. So how so many, for example, in case of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, when each Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is in each universe. If there are 1,000 universe, for example, there are 1,000 Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And how these 1,000 Garbhodakshaya Vishnu are coming? Because there are 1,000 holes in the skin of Mahavishnu. And when that Vishnu breathes out, all this creation happens. And when he breathes in, it is like time of Mahapralaya, and everything is like taken back. So 1,000 we use as an example. There are infinite pores in the skin, and hence infinite number of universes take place. And then in each universe, in each jiva, that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters into the form of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So that Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is also called Super Soul. Okay, Paramatma in the heart of every living being. One may question, how is it possible? So in this regard, I had heard a small, it is a joke from His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Swami Maharaj few days back. So he was telling, like, there was a person, and then he gets a chance to see the Lord. And then he asked, for you, hundreds of years means what? Lord said, for me, hundreds of years means just a moment. And then he asks, the same person asks, and for you, like millions and billions of rupees and dollars and this thing, how much it is actually for you? He said, it is not even a single penny. And then the person says, can you give me a penny? And the Lord says, you wait for a moment. So the point is, we cannot be over intelligent, okay, from the Lord, because everyone makes a mistake. His Holiness Kirtu Prabhu, who is also a great disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he says everyone makes mistake, whether it is yogi, jnani, okay, even Brahma, Shiva, Indra, great sages, they all make mistake in understanding the Lord. So, give me a second, please. Yes. So everyone makes a mistake in understanding the Lord. So even this Brahma Vimohan Lila that we all know, right? It was done when Brahma was doubting this Lord, my Lord, from whom I have taken birth, Krishna, right? Because we know from Krishna only everything descends. So people in Vaikuntha, they offer with lots of hymns, lot of mantras, the bhoga to the Lord, and then the Lord sometime accepts, sometime may not accept. So this, how can that personality be same as this little coward boy who is eating from his left hand, right? Eating from left hand is not considered very good thing, okay? He is eating from his left hand, and then he goes to the extent that the coward boys, if they eat something and they say it is very nice, and Krishna says, why you did not share it with me? And then he takes from their mouth and he eats, and then he enjoys. So looking at this, Brahmaji also got doubtful that he cannot be my Lord. And then we all know the story, like after this, when Brahmaji goes to see Krishna. So at the gate, the gatekeeper stops, and then they ask, who are you? And then Brahmaji tells, I am Brahma. So they said, we have never heard this. Then he said, you take the message to Krishna. And Krishna's, when Krishna is asked, they say, please inform. I mean, Krishna asks which Brahma it is. And then Brahmaji gets again doubtful, like it means there are more Brahmas. He says, like, I am Chaturmukhi Brahma. And then Krishna allows. And when Brahmaji comes to see the Krishna calls other Brahmas also from other universes. Some is 10-headed, 1,000-headed, 100-headed. So then Brahmaji realizes, okay, we all would have seen this in that little Krishna story also. It is very nicely depicted there. Please see it if it is not. I mean, if you have not seen it earlier. So the point here is that Krishna, who descends as Balramji, then Vasudev, Sankarsana, Niruddha, Pradyumna, first Chaturvyuha incarnation, and then further second Chaturvyuha. From there, from Sankarsana, Mahavishnu comes. From Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu comes, and then the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So all this is happening because we Jivatma enjoy. We had discussed this thing earlier also, but it is very, very important to remember it always, that same Lord who wanted us, who wanted to fulfill our desire to enjoy in this world, is doing so much of expansions for us. right? When we want to surrender back to him and go back to him, he can do. Even these are the things which he does not like, but to fulfill our desire, he's doing it all this. But if we want to go back, this is what he wants. So he can go to any extent to take us back. Let us remember this thing every single time, whenever we read about the creation, annihilation, about such topics. And making mistake is very common. We have discussed Brahmaji, then Indra we have discussed, right? Shivaji we have discussed. I mean, we all know great sages, Vishwamitra, Durvasa Munis. Everybody makes the mistake. Vedas explain everything in dual language, right? So that the devotees who want to serve the Lord, they can take one meaning. But those who do not want to accept the supremacy of the Lord, they will also understand and derive their own meaning. Okay? So only fact is that we are the part and parcel of the Lord, and Krishna loves us so much. That is the only one thing we have to accept. Rest everything. It is yesterday morning only I was hearing. So His Holiness Kadamba Kanan Swami Maharaj, he was mentioning when we go from place A to place B, there are so many divergence that comes. So we may find those places, those divergence very attractive. Those divergence are of the Jnana Marga, okay, Dhyana Marga. Some divergence are for liberation, some are for mystic powers, some are for name, fame. So all these different divergence, when we go from one highway, right? So many cuts comes. So all those cuts, divergence, they are very attractive. But when we are on our path to the Lord, we should be very, very careful, because mind may be tricked very easily by Maya. Maya will never say, you don't chant. Maya will say very politely, when did I say you don't chant? Chanting is very good. All the Shastras, everybody is saying. I also accept, yes. But all I'm saying is, why to wake up so early? Okay. Then life is long. You can chant easily during the day. Nobody's running. And then very silently, okay, we are given one excuse after the another by Maya. And then when we realize the time is gone, we go very far. I forgot the name of a sage. He was very perfect and nicely doing his duties. He got attracted to his wife, okay, and then it was so much absorption that one day in evening he suddenly says to his wife that I need to take bath so that I do my evening Sandhya Arati, Sandhya, that Gayatri. And then his wife, oh, today you are remembering of Gayatri. Do you have any idea when was the last time you did your Gayatri? Means when we forget, that very first moment when we forget is very, very dangerous, because from there, the next set of options that will come us in front of us are going to take us further away, and then the next even further away, and then very, very far away. So we all will get these different routes in our life. His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj had come here in Bangalore about 2 months back. So he was telling in his lecture, it was based on Chaitanya Charitamrita. So when we water the seed, then even the weed, kharpatwar in Hindi, what we say, that also gets nourished. So when we water, we should be very careful to what we are watering. Okay, is it the bhakti seed, or it is a desire of becoming more famous, desire of becoming more knowledgeable, then something very similar, more powers, more books, more titles, more lectures. Okay, in your society, in your neighborhood, in your office, people know you as a good person, as a good image. So are you watering your image? So Krishna is also there in the queue somewhere, but we, in the name of Krishna, we water something else. I had one senior mentor, his Grace Sir Govir Krishna Prabhuji. So he was telling a small story that once a person had the load carrying him. I mean, he was carrying the load from one place to another, like Utsamurti, right? So he was carrying, and then all the people were paying obeisances to him. And then the person found himself, oh, he is much elevated now. Today is the time when everybody has realized. I was trying so hard to tell these people, but today, finally, they have all accepted my supremacy. And see, wherever I'm going, they are paying me obeisances. And then the next day, when he was going alone without the deity, nobody was paying him. So we must remind ourselves, we are like a 2 rupees, that nut bolt is there, no? So we by ourselves has no value. But that 2 rupees bolt, when it is used in aeroplane, its value multiplies exponentially. So we need to be in the service of the Lord to be valuable. Coming back to today's sloka again, okay, because that same Lord who is so great is now doing all this thing for us. So in the form of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Lord enters into this universe, which is half filled with his transcendental sweating. And from there, Brahmaji takes birth from the navel of the Lord in the form of a lotus stem. And Brahmaji is also called Atma Bhu, Swam Yoni, because for him, there is no other father, mother. I mean, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the father, is the mother. Okay. So this Mahavishnu, when, as we discussed, when he enters into each universe, same Mahavishnu in the same transcendental qualities, now in each universe is called as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who is the super soul of each universe. The same way that the Lord is there in our heart in the form of Paramatma, who is also known as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So in this, if we assume our body as universe for a minute, then this Paramatma is in the form of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Right? So entire universe, its soul is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then same Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, when he enters, yes, sorry. So, and this Garbhodakshaya Vishnu has thousands of heads, and it has the same qualities, transcendental qualities, as the Mahavishnu. And in the sequence, it is the second Purusha Avatara. First is Mahavishnu, also known as Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Second is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Okay. And then he is omnipresent, present everywhere, right? So if somebody asks, where is the soul in our body? So soul means consciousness, right? So if some small nail hits our toe or palm or everywhere, right? We immediately get to know. So it's the consciousness is there. The consciousness in the body is the symptom of the soul, right? Similarly, in the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu in this universe, it is the consciousness. So everything and anything which is ever is happening in this entire universe, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu knows it immediately. Same way as our soul knows anything is happening in the body. So it is just a analogy. Using our body to understand Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, for the universe, it is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Okay, so he's also called Samasti Antaryami Purusha, and he is the guide of Brahma also. So we will now go through the purport, and I'll try to take a pause in between wherever we have to explain something. Let me see who next hand in the list. I don't see. Somebody wants to read? Mataji?
Jai Mata Prabhuji.
Okay, Mataji, please continue. Yes.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. The prime divine avatara lying in the spiritual causal ocean is such a great effect that in the pores of his divine form spring up myriads of seeds of the universe. Those series of universes are the perverted reflections of the infinite transcendental region. As long as they remain embedded in his divine form, they embody the principle of spiritual reflection having the form of golden eggs. Nevertheless, by the creative desire of Mahavishnu, the minute particles of the great elements, which are constituents of the mundane, efficient, and material causal principles, envelop them. When these golden sperms, coming out with the exaltation of Mahavishnu, enter into the unlimited accommodating chamber of the limited potency, Maya, they become enlarged by the non-conglomerate great elements. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dhanvat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. So, sorry, I had highlighted 13 because we were referring that one. So, that verse purport has been already covered. So, we were on 14th. So, kindly forgive me, it is by mistake. We were highlighted on 13th, so we continued reading them. So, but good, we get more context from there. So, let me request some other devotee who wants to read the 14th one now, because that is our today's verse. Yes, Milli Mataji.
Will you, Mataji? Please continue, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam, Prabhuji. Translation or the purport? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Mahavishnu lying in the spiritual causal ocean is the subjective portion of Mahasankarshan. He entered as his own subjective portions into those universes. These individual portions all represent the second divine Purusha lying in the ocean of conception and is identical with Mahavishnu in every respect. He is also spoken of as the divine guide from within of all souls. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So, we discussed this Mahavishnu and the one who enters in each of the universe. Okay, this is the second divine Purusha, and it is identical with Mahavishnu. So we should not differentiate. That same way, if somebody, okay, this is the advantage. Maybe few of us, and maybe many people whom we come across or we will come across, they will say this Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they are the main, and then everything else is surrounding by them. So with the help of Brahma Samhita, now we know Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh are there in each universe for its maintenance, creation, and the annihilation. in each of the universes, there is its own Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Now, there are numerable number of universes. Okay, they all have come from Mahavishnu. So, why we are discussing these details is because we should be very, very clear in our mind that if somebody says, then depending on the time, place, circumstances, as we always say, at least we should be clear in our heart, right? That they are just one of the creation in the entire sequence. Okay, so, and if someone says there is like Krishna is the incarnation of Vishnu, because many times when we see the TV serials, okay, so the things are not as clear, and a lot of fancy things are also put in. So philosophy is not very, very much emphasized there when we perceive it from the TV serials and right these things. So we should be very clear that Krishna is not the incarnation from Vishnu. From Krishna, various incarnations comes into picture. Dashavatara is like one example. Purusha Avatara is second example. Right? Leela Avatara, Satyavesha Avatara, so many incarnations. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter, explains these incarnations. And then it says there are, towards the end, it says there are innumerable number of incarnations. These are just few which are commonly known. So he is also spoken as of the divine guide from within of all souls. So this is same, but now, okay, within of each soul, that is like Paramatma. So now there are so many things around us. Okay, so we must know it is like our attitude, the attitude of the progress of a person in Krishna consciousness depends on his attitude. Srila Prabhupada said this thing. So while we are going through all these details, we must have this thing very clear in our mind that we are not learning these things just to increase our just knowledge. Okay, that is why in the beginning, right, before we started the discussion, also then we discussed why we are discussing these things is because we can be more convinced that our Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and how this is the answer of that. If we just restrict ourselves in understanding, oh, there's so many kinds of incarnation, Purusha Avatara, and so many universes happens. It is like technical and interesting because majority of the people, right, whom we associate with outside, they do not know. We must know there is nothing called material. Okay, everything is spiritual. Only, okay, how? Let us understand this with the help of an example. If I say the light of the sun, right, wherever it is, the darkness cannot be there. And if somebody says, please hear this thing very attentively. If somebody says, because today, now it is like afternoon, right, 12:30 almost in India. So if someone says in US at this time, there is no sun. Well, it is true because there is no light, but the very statement, as we all understand now, sun is there everywhere, all the times, only because that earth is rotating, right? The part which is facing towards the earth is getting the light, but it does not mean in US there is no sun now. I mean, am I able to explain this? So wherever the knowledge, the spirituality, everything is there everywhere. When it is covered by our own ignorance, we say we are in Maya. But Maya is not our actual nature. That is only a layer that has to be removed. same way, if somebody questions, how can so many universes take places from the pores of Mahavishnu? One answer of that can be when the rays of the sun falls on earth, if we see from a small hole, there are innumerable number of dust particles in each ray, and there are innumerable number of rays. So if from the sun in its rays, so many particles can be there. If in our same mobile phone or same laptop, His Holiness Kritu Prabhu gives this example. So if in our laptop, thousands and thousands of books can get stored. So if the human made things can have this much detail, how about the load, right? Srila Prabhupada says our man-made rocket can go into the universe, right? On different, there are so many planets, right? Earth is one, and then Mercury, right? Venus, so many. So if our man-made satellite can go into the universe, how about the intelligence of the Lord? We cannot imagine. So point here is why we are discussing all these details, because we don't have to compromise and settle that, oh, now I know this thing, now I can take part in any debate. No, we are not here to take debate. We all know the example of Rupa Goswami and I forgot the name of the person who had come for debate, and then Jiva Goswami. Rupa Goswami accepts and signs on a paper, I accept my defeat, in front of another person who wanted to prove himself greater. And then when Jiva Goswami saws, when he see this thing, that his guru, Rupa Goswami, has accepted his defeat, so he defeats the person. Okay, and Rupa Goswami did not like it, because in Krishna consciousness, we are not here to debate. Our life is very short. We don't have to prove everybody that we are superior. Okay, our words need not to be there. Our actions must speak themselves. Okay, so this was a little like important thing, because it is the foundation of why we are understanding this thing. Otherwise, understanding technical things may make us proud, because usually people will not know, and when we explain them, we feel even more proud. So if proud had been the reason, then we must be very, very in the mood of surrenderness. Oh Lord, give us the knowledge that we can use in your service. Okay, it is 12:30. We started late, but we are mostly done. If you have any comments, questions, I request you to kindly share suggestions. Otherwise we are done for the lecture, today's session. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, so thank you so much, Prabhuji and Matajis. Please accept my respectful obeisances, and then Vancha kalpatarubhayascha kripa sindhubhayascha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnavendra ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. With your permission, I will close the meeting.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful session. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.